breaking news coming in right now. The Bharatiya Janata Party has now demanded a CBI probe into Rahul and Sonia Gandhi's role on in the National Herald scam. They want the CBI, in fact, to conduct an inquiry, and they also say, the Bharatiya Janata Party says, they will move court if a probe is not launched immediately. Now, the BJP has threatened to move court against Rahul Gandhi as well as his mother, Sonia Gandhi. Take a look at what the BJP is trying to say.
This herald land was directly been made by the Congress High Command from Delhi. So it was a gift given to the Delhi High Command. And it is really surprising when we are shortage of fund, when we are having a debt of more than 3 lakh crores. How can government spare such a big amount only to favor their Congress High Command? So I think there should be a thorough inquiry, and if necessary, we'll move to the court and ask for a CBI inquiry.
News coming in right now. Subramanian Swamy has spoken to NewsX. He's demanded an SIT probe in addition to a CBI probe against the Gandhis for their role in the National Herald scam. This is Subramanian Swamy speaking exclusively to NewsX.
It was done by Ashok Chavan, and he was responsible. And Prithviraj Chavan, his job is, whether the indictment of Mr. Chavan will continue or not is a totally different matter. But his job is to recover that land. That land was never meant for multi-storied luxury flats. It was meant for a hostel for boys, poor families. So therefore, Prithviraj Chavan would be doing the right thing if he recovered the land.
More breaking news coming in. BJP now wants the EC probe also against the Gandhi. They've called for an election commission probe as well. So now the BJP is demanding a CBI probe, an SIT within the CBI or under the CBI, and they also want the election commission to probe Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi's role in the National Herald scam. And this is just breaking right now as the calls are growing for an election commission probe. The BJP has jumped into the picture. They've asked for a CBI probe, an SIT to be conducted, SIT probe to be conducted within the aegis of the CBI, as well as an election commission probe into the matter. Now, Mayuresh, my colleague, has joined us now for more on this. Mayuresh, there are 2 points. On what basis the government waived out those 3.5 to 4 crore rupees fine? What basis was there, if any?
Certainly, in this whole case, there are 2 important points that government needs to be answered. Point number 1, on what basis government waived off the loan amount that was of 4 crore, somewhere around 4 crore rupees. So, then Revenue Minister, on what basis he waived off that amount? And second most important point is that the contract says that...
All right, Mayuresh, stay with us. We also have Majid Memon, senior lawyer and also NCP leader, with us on the phone line right now. Mr. Memon, now calls are growing for not just one probe, a CBI probe. The BJP is also demanding an SIT to be probing this under the aegis of the CBI, as well as an election commission probe into the National Herald scam. Your reaction to all these calls, the BJP is asking for? Do you think 3 probes are necessary?
See, number 1, I would say that if there is anything being sought to be dug up with political motivation, one has to be very cautious. If any crime is committed, naturally, the question is that a case is to be made out for the purposes of initiating inquiry. Now, if there are a couple of questions that are being so enthusiastically being asked, why government did this, why government did that, then in all fairness, government is entitled to answer those questions. Now, naturally, let these questions be posed in a proper manner by a proper person or a proper authority or a proper institute. The government would reply to it. Why do we can jump to conclusion?
The point of contention, sir, seems to be, and this is what the BJP is echoing as well, is why did Ashok Chavan, the then Revenue Minister of Maharashtra, waive off the fine that was imposed on that particular holding? The fine was about 4 crore rupees. On what basis? Don't you think at least that should be answered?
See, revenue, what the question that you are raising or BJP is initiating is required to be answered by either the present revenue officials or revenue minister or the person concerned, as you said, Ashok Chavan. Let them answer this. Why do we jump to conclusion? And then if a case is made out for inquiry, the inquiry would be conducted. There is no need to, politicize the whole thing only because BJP has come to power and Congress is out.
So do you think that, do you think, you mentioned, you started off, Mr. Memon, by saying if this is a political vendetta or witch hunt, that shouldn't be allowed to happen. But do you think there is a case to be made for that?
No, precisely. That is what I am saying, that in all fairness, without driven on one side or the other, without any political motivation, if any inquiry is required to be made, the inquiry would be held and the questions would be posed to the government. Questions can be raised on the floor of the House in Maharashtra legislature. So where is the panic? What's the problem? We should not jump to conclusion to condemn somebody or castigate somebody or start making noise that he has this or eaten. It's not a fair, healthy practice.
But Mr. Memon, one more question. Do you think, and like you mentioned right now, if Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi have nothing to hide, do you think they should agree to the demands of so many probes being asked by the BJP now, especially Dr. Subramanian Swamy and other members of the BJP? Do you think they should just agree to a probe, and if they've done nothing wrong, everything will come out in the open?
No, please understand. See, any Tom, Dick and Harry can just sensationalize anything by taking big names like Sonia Gandhi.
Agreed, completely agree.
Only for making a sensational news, it is not fair. See, well, both Sonia ji or Rahul ji, they have never hesitated that in case there is any case made out for the purpose of questioning or for the purpose of inquiry, it's welcome. And they would always offer their explanation as and when it is necessary.
So
but nobody can on the street make a noise and start, condemning somebody.
So you mentioned a proper procedure. You said this could be asked on the floor of the House as well. You said Ashok Chavan could perhaps respond to these queries. The current revenue officials could look into files as well. And the current revenue officials, if they think there is a case to be made, then perhaps we can move forward from there. Don't you think that's the correct procedure?
Then investigating agency would spring into action and would start collecting data for the purpose of seeing whether any crime is committed, A, and B, if a crime is committed, who has committed and what crime is committed. These are all questions which automatically crop up and which are answered by a systematic investigation.
So just allegations then are not basis for a probe to be conducted unless someone, in fact, the procedure goes through. Do you think that even then if someone's raising an allegation against someone who was at the head of the power structure for 10 years in the country, don't you think that particular individual, and I'm talking about Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi right now, should at least make a statement, come out, or do you think that would be just bowing down to undue pressure?
No responsible citizen enjoying a high position in Indian society or Indian polity would hesitate in answering or offering himself or herself for the purpose of legitimate furtherance of any query or investigation. We should not create panic by jumping to conclusions, which unfortunately is a very bad practice.
All right, Mr. Majid Memon, many thanks for joining us and shedding some light on your perspective. We're also being joined now by Pratyush, who's my colleague Pratyush, who's on the story now. Pratyush, now there are serious allegations. There are calls already for 3 probes, the Election Commission probe, the SIT under the aegis of the CBI, and an overall CBI probe. Dr. Swamy has leveled serious allegations. Now the BJP wants these probes. What exactly, apart from that 3.5 crore waiver, is Dr. Swamy alleging is really happening?
Dr. Swamy has picked up on the fact that there was a shell company that was really created on behalf of the Gandhis that invested in National Herald, and that is where the 2,000 crore scam really comes from. But speaking about the latest developments in this matter, Athar, it's very clear that that land was allotted to Associated Journals in Mumbai in 1983 at a subsidized rate, which was okay. And moving on from that, but they failed to move, even build what was minimally required to be built. Construction wasn't started within 3 years. There were penalties that were imposed, which over the years, along with interest, amounted to over rupees, 2.75 crores. Now, this 2.75 crores in the Ashok Chavan government was completely waived away. Now, this is the point that Subramanian Swamy is also picking up on today, that it seems that at all levels across board there were favors, undue favors that were given out to Associated Journals. There was undue favor that was afforded to the Gandhis, and this is his main issue.
Also, the point that Majid Memon mentioned, Pratyush, and I want you to shed some light on that as well. He said the current revenue officials in Maharashtra have the power to look into those files and point out if there are, in fact, irregularities in the process. So don't you think first those revenue officials should jump into action, and come out with whatever irregularities are there, and then perhaps a probe can go on. Is that correct? Those revenue officials, do they have the power?
Well, that's a point of contention. It depends on which way you look at it. Of course, these revenue officials are equipped with the mandate to go ahead and do the search. If they're asked to do so, can they do it suo motu? It remains to be seen. Remember, no official complaint has been filed with them as of this stage. What we also know is the way that the Congress and sources in the Congress are defending the decision taken in 2001 by Ashok Chavan was that due process was followed, Associated Journals was encouraged, and in which manner, and in that process, the penalty was simply waived off. But now whether this can be verified, whether this was correct, whether all procedures were adhered to, all this remains to be seen, Athar, and right now there are more questions than answers.
Right, absolutely. It remains to be seen, like Pratyush said, whether or not these revenue officials can take suo motu cognizance and action, or does an official complaint need to be filed with them before they can start doing the job. In the meantime, like Pratyush told us, as well as what Dr. Swamy is alleging, there is, of course, trouble brewing for Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. More allegations coming through as well. Now we understand around 3.5 crore rupees was waived off. It was a fine that was waived off by Ashok Chavan, the then revenue minister in 2001 in Maharashtra. And like Pratyush pointed out, and this is very important, Pratyush, and I think what you said was there was minimal construction on the plot given to National Herald and the holding company, the shell company that was holding it, and that perhaps is the point of contention, and that perhaps if there are irregularities on the part of Rahul and Sonia Gandhi, that perhaps is what could get them in a hot bowl of soup. Pratyush will try to get more reactions. In the meantime, let's also understand this is not the first allegation that Subramanian Swamy is levelling regarding this National Herald. He started off a while back and he's now pushing the pedal, and now the BJP is getting into the act, and more leaders coming out and saying that, look, we don't want one probe, we want an independent probe, not just by the CBI, we want an SIT under the aegis of the CBI, and also the EC. What's the EC angle here? They also asked for an election commission probe.
Well, absolutely. A political party is not entitled to loan out money to a third party. Now, that is the point where a violation of the election commission procedures and rules of conduct come forward, and which is why critics of of this entire debate are saying that perhaps that is a point where the where the Congress party, where the Gandhis may have erred, and which is why this matter is also being referred to the election commission at this stage.
All right, Pratyush, we're also being joined in just a moment by our National Affairs editor, Diptosh Majumdar. We'll go to him as soon as he's patched with us. Just to recap what Pratyush, my colleague's been telling us, the EC angle, of course, was that political parties and entities cannot loan money out. I believe we are joined now by Diptosh Majumdar, our National Affairs editor. Diptosh, thanks for joining us right now. More trouble, in fact, seems to be brewing. I want to allude to what Majid Memon told us right now. He said that if there is a case to be made about irregularities in this particular case, we should go through the proper channel. But do you think, in the interest of probity, Rahul and Sonia Gandhi already under the radar, already under the gun, do you think if they have nothing to hide, they should come forward and agree and acquiesce to a probe by the CBI?
Well, definitely, they'll have to submit themselves. They were out of the country when this issue was first brought up recently. But the fact of the matter is, if they're back and if they're available, they have to make themselves available to the CBI, because this matter is such that there are a lot of ambiguities, there are a lot of suggestions that there could have been irregularities. So obviously this stands scrutiny and this demands that they be probed.
Right,
and a thorough probe will only help dispel.
Diptosh, I'll come to you in just a bit. We're being joined now on the phone line by Vinod Sharma, political analyst. Mr. Sharma, now Dr. Subramanian Swamy coming out with a fresh set of allegations. The BJP pushing the pedal, saying we don't want one probe, we want CBI, SIT and the EC to probe this particular deal. Your comments?
Well, I think that Dr. Swamy has been at this case for a long time, and he's in the habit of demanding SIT in everything. He's also demanded an SIT in the Terror case, but it's within his right to demand SIT. And he's in the habit of demanding SIT in everything. He's also demanded an SIT in the Terror case, but it's within his right to demand SIT. Whatever the nature of investigations, I think these should be hastened up. They should be quickly taken on and concluded, so that we can hear the last word in these cases.
Right.
Because if these cases are protracted and prolonged, needlessly there is, there's a scope for insinuation, allegations, and all kinds of things. If this trust has been misused, let the investigations be concluded and the trust be dissolved. That's the best way to go forward.
So, in that sense, do you think that Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi should come forward and say, look, we are ready for a probe and agree to a probe?
You see, there are allegations against the trust with which they are involved. So what is there for them to say we are ready for a probe? Let the government have a probe instituted. Now, if there is a case. You see, the point is that, the way you are formulating your question is that the onus to prove my innocence is on me. No. The onus to prove my guilt is on those who are making the insinuations.
No, I understand. I understand that. So you're saying...
That's it now. So what I'm saying is that if there is a case and if there is a misuse of the National Herald Trust, if there is a transfer of property in the name of a new company called Young India or whatever, and if these allegations are correct, then there are two things which will follow. One, that the income tax exemption which the trust has will be withdrawn. And if there has been misuse of the trust and transfer of property illegally, then the trust itself can be dissolved. So, I think the best way forward is to institute a probe, regardless of whether or not the Congress party or Sonia Gandhi or Rahul Gandhi are saying that we are open to a probe.
All right. So the onus now really is back from the BJP party to the government.
Dr. Subramanian
The government
Swamy
is also...
to the ruling party, doesn't he?
Right.
He's written a letter to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister will take a call.
Sharma,
he's written a letter in the case of Sunanda Pushkar to the Prime Minister.
Right.
The Prime Minister can take a call on this.
Right.
And this National Herald case, Dr. Swamy has been at it for the past 6 or 7 or 8 months.
Right. Mr. Sharma, I would also like Diptosh Majumdar to react to what you've said right now. Please stay with us, Mr. Sharma. Diptosh, do you agree now the onus completely is not really on the accused here? It's who's making the allegation. If the government believes those allegations have merit, just go ahead and constitute a probe and be done with it.
Instead, Mr. Subramanian Swamy should now answer why is the government not listening to him. The ball is in the government's court, as Vinod rightly pointed out. It is for the government to come out and start the probe. It's not for the Gandhis to ask for a probe and ask for a hasty probe, even if they want it to be done in as quickly as possible, because as Vinod rightly pointed out, there would be insinuations, allegations, charges in the meantime as this case goes on and drags its feet, as is the tendency in this country. But the fact of the matter is, the ball is in the government's court and the government should come out and probe. And the government is delaying, holding things up, both not just in this particular case, but also in the Sunanda Pushkar case. It seems that Subramanian Swamy is hitting the wall when it's his own party-led government.
All right. So the really onus now is on the government led by Prime Minister Modi, and they need to constitute a probe as soon as possible, like Vinod Sharma said, and as Diptosh agrees, that if there are irregularities in this particular case, if the trust was misused and money was siphoned off and minimal construction happened and in fact the 3.5 crore rupee fine that was waived off by Ashok Chavan as alleged by Dr. Subramanian Swamy and members of the BJP, then the government should hurry and not waste any time and in fact constitute a probe so that the truth can come out. Pratyush, very quickly to you now. Vinod Sharma pointed out a very important thing, and I think Diptosh agrees as well. It seems that Dr. Subramanian Swamy, as in another case, Sunanda Pushkar case, he's written to the Prime Minister already. He wants a probe. The party wants a probe. It's up to the government in power now to, in fact, go ahead and constitute a probe so that we can know what the truth really is.
Well, absolutely. But the only thing and why this case, the National Herald case, is different from the other cases that Mr. Swamy is pursuing right now when he's writing to the Prime Minister is the fact that he's fought the National Herald case for over 11 years.
Right.
It's been a decade since he's tracked it down, and it's unlikely that where he's achieved a small victory, where the court has summoned the Gandhis to appear in person and at least explain if there's any reason for any further investigation. He's going to pursue every line of perhaps every course that's available at his disposal to try and investigate this matter slightly more.
All right, Pratyush, we also have Lalita Kumar Mangalam, spokesperson of the BJP, on the phone line right now. Ms. Kumar Mangalam, thank you for joining us. My question to you really now is that seems to be an understanding if there are irregularities in the National Herald case and the BJP is demanding multiple probes in the case. Dr. Swamy wants multiple probes in the case. What's stopping the government from constituting an SIT and launching a probe right away?
Look, we understand the government. You can't just jump to conclusions. We need enough proof. And I think the process of unearthing all the corruption that the Congress has been conducting over the last 5 years of the UPA regime is underway. We have, as I've said very often, very great responsibilities thrust on us. One of that is to see that corruption is wiped out in this country. The National Herald case, it seems to be becoming clearer and clearer that it was a very murky and possibly even illegal things which have been done. But you can't just jump to conclusions and say that we are going to constitute an inquiry without gathering enough proof. There is enough proof. I think it's just a question of time, and we will look into it.
Is there enough proof, or are you waiting for more proof?
I'm not exactly aware of what's going on in the finance ministry at the moment, but I think the priority perhaps is that we first get the budget on stream. And there are other cases that are also being looked at, as you know. We have said that we are going to look into all the deals where corruption has taken place. But there is another problem. If we are in too much of a hurry and we don't have a solid case, the first thing everybody else will do is cry foul and say that we are being vindictive.
Okay,
so we need to have enough legal material to be able to show that it's not vindictiveness, it's just that we are trying to see what was illegally done be unearthed, and those who are guilty be at least taken to task.
So, but in principle, you do agree, and I'm not talking about you personally, but in principle, there is an understanding that there was some irregularity and there was some illegality happening in this particular case, but the government is waiting for the right time and enough proof so that it can have a watertight case so that nobody can cry foul. Is my understanding correct?
Sorry, no, nobody is outside of the ambit of the law, whoever they may be, especially if they are powerful politicians, because that is exactly what has probably brought this country into such a bad situation today.
All right.
The powerful get away with enormous mistakes.
Right. Ms. Kumar Mangalam, it's interesting.
We are not in favor of.
It's interesting what you said. I would ask you to stay with us. I want to get my National Affairs editor for a comment, and I'll come back to you in just a bit. Lalita Kumar Mangalam, made a lot of sense right now. The budget is upon us right now, and I would imagine the government and the finance ministry, especially, which is of course the overall master of the ED, would be very busy with the budget right now. But the fact remains. From what Ms. Kumar Mangalam is saying, there seems to be a consensus within government, this particular government, that there was some sort of irregularity. They're just waiting for watertight proof, a watertight case, so that when they go in for the kill, there is no room left for whatever perpetrators have done.
Well, you know, there is the difference of perception between Mr. Subramanian Swamy and between the BJP-led government. It seems their priorities are completely different from what Ms. Kumar Mangalam just said. Mr. Subramanian Swamy is trying to press home the point that he's extremely ready with the case and that it's everything is done, it's a given, and it's only a matter of time before both Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi can be lodged in Tihar jail. That's the way he's been tweeting, that's the way he's been talking to his own followers on social media for quite a number of days. But the fact of the matter is the government's priorities are different. The budget making is an important exercise for the government, and the government doesn't want, as Lalita Kumar Mangalam rightly said, to look vindictive. It has been made clear from the government long before it came to power that there won't be vendetta politics once it comes to power. So it will have to tread the line very carefully in a very balanced manner, and doesn't want to look, caught on the wrong foot when it is trying to